Hey, listeners, can you believe we have been producing the HAYVN Hubcast for over a year? In celebration of this momentous occasion, we are resharing with you a handful of our favorite episodes, guests, and interviews. Have a listen and hope you enjoy them as much as we do.
Welcome to the HAYVN Hubcast, a place to learn what business leaders, owners, and professionals are doing to navigate and grow in today's market. Hear from industry experts on everything from marketing, leadership, financing, and more. Brought to you by HAYVN, a co-working space where you can connect, create, and get stuff done.
Hi, and welcome to the HAYVN Hubcast. I am your co-host, Nancy Sheed, and I am very excited to be speaking today with Carrie Skowronski. Carrie, did I say that right?
Yep.
Woohoo! Carrie is a courage builder and the founder of Leadology, which is a consulting firm that specializes in leadership development and programs for individuals and companies. Carrie, I know, is sort of certified and qualified with a gazillion different assessment tools, least of not which is Brene Brown's Dare to Lead program. So, Carrie, thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit more about who you are, Leadology, and I always like to say how you got to this point.
Oh my gosh. Where do I start? Nancy, thanks so much for having me. It's always fun to chat with you. Gosh, okay, so how did I get to this point? So I am a retail girl from Ohio. Like you said, like no path is ever a straightforward path. So, went to the University of Cincinnati and graduated with an international affairs degree, but started working retail like most college kids at the Gap.
And had great bosses, right? Like they were all fantastic bosses, right?
I will say I've had we've all had, right? We can all name a really amazing bosses and then some that maybe were not. And we learn lessons from all those people. But I will tell you the very first person who hired me, her name is Donna Van Pelt. Oh my God, if she ever heard this, she was so influential to me. Like she hired me. I remember my roommate and I went to Kenwood Town Center, which is a mall in Cincinnati, Ohio. And we were we're college kids. We're in our like big baggy college sweatshirts and like boxer shorts and sneakers. And we were walking past Gap Kids and Baby Gap and just like, oh my God, those little shoes and jeans are so cute. I mean, this is like in the early 90s. And Donna Van Pelt walks outside of the store and she's just like, if you think those are cute, you two should work here. And fast forward, Gina and I have had very successful careers in retail. She is like killing it at Apple right now. And I have my own business. So yeah, I worked at Gap. I worked at J. Crew. I worked at Coach. And it's really at Coach where I made the transition from working in the actual retail store into a true HR learning and development function and took all of my passion and instincts and gained the certifications you were talking about to be able to grow in that role for several years until I stepped out of corporate altogether and started my own business.
Woohoo! I love that journey. So in terms of being specializing in leadership development programs, I would assume that means a lot to a lot of people. And having come from HR, there are a gazillion ways one can help somebody. How have you figured out, or what is it that is kind of your niche or your specialty or your sweet spot in terms of how you help people?
Yeah. So my sweet spot 100% are new managers. So when we say leadership development, any thought leader would say, like, we are all leading something, right? Whether you're the executive, you're the middle manager, or even an individual contributor, right? You have to lead yourself, lead your work. You have to be a role model for your peers. So we're all leading something. We all have a sense of leadership within us. But my niche, the people who I connect to the most, that I'm most passionate about, who I want to help the most, who connect to me the most, are new managers. So it's someone who was recently a superstar individual contributor. They have amazing technical skill. They've been really successful, and they get promoted, which they've been wanting really badly. And sometimes they get promoted really quickly and get really high up before they have had any formal training on how do I get results through a team? What do I do when I have a team member who doesn't work the way I do, communicate the way I do? is as ambitious as I am, how do I continue to delegate to them and set expectations and give them feedback and support them and really drive performance? So it's those people who I am most passionate about.
Fantastic. And so you and I have spoken before, like in terms of kind of your overarching view with them, you're really focused on, I'm going to get this right, how managers can become influential communicators, right?
Yes, yes.
I want that. So tell me, I come to you or your ideal client comes to you. I'm sure they don't ask to be influential communicators, but that's really what they need to be, right?
Yeah.
What does that look like in terms of how they get there? Are there, 5 steps to get to be an influential communicator? Or how does that work with you? Or what are the things they need to know?
Yeah. Okay. So you said a couple of things. So the first thing you said was, I want that, but you probably wouldn't have known to ask for that, right?
Exactly.
So it has actually taken me a long time. And also I've had the support of 2 people, Erica Brewer and Ryan Roten, who are brand messaging specialists who I worked closely with, and they got to know my brand intimately. And they kind of came up with this because what people are asking for are things like they are asking for, hey, we need to learn communication. All right, well, communication is a huge headline. Like,
Right.
right? But asking them about what's going on, what are your pain points? Give us the scenarios, what's going well, what's not going well. Overall, what they're thinking about is, it's really hard to give feedback that actually changes behavior. We're not delegating in a way that is effective. We might not be setting expectations clearly, or the leader thinks they're clear, but the people down below are like, you're not communicating effectively to us. So we're learning about this from a lot of different things, like feedback from senior leaders, the struggles of the managers themselves, employee engagement surveys. A lot of companies do surveys to find out how people are feeling across different levels of the organization. And they're paying attention to the folks who are disengaged. And oftentimes it is because their managers are not communicating with them effectively, whether that's feedback, delegation, communicating change, communicating new expectations, telling them what they're doing well, but also what they can be better at. Gosh, what else? Having those tougher conversations. So, what we realized was that all those skills are communication. Every single one of those skills, right? Whether you want to learn how to give feedback or delegate or talk about change or receive feedback, all of those skills are communication. And when we can do that more effectively, we can help our teams. We can kind of put it together so that together they're accelerating towards their goals.
Fantastic. And so with that being the ultimate goal, what's a starting point with you? Does it depend on how they come, or is there a certain, program and steps and everybody starts at the beginning? What does that process look like?
Yeah. So ideally, so you were talking about my certifications, and I am certified in the Brené Brown Dare to Lead journey, which is really transformational. But another really powerful transformational journey that I actually recommend that almost all my clients start with is the strengths-based journey. And that's where they go through the Clifton Strengths Finder assessment, psychologically validated assessment, where you answer 177 questions. And out of 34 talents, you learn what your top 5 strengths are. And we start there because it really takes into complexity the uniqueness of each human being, right? So I'm a retail girl. Most people experience me as extroverted. These conversations don't scare me. I love to have all kinds of conversations, right? Like just difficult conversations, positive feedback conversations. Like I can lean into that. But the way I do it is going to be different from how a finance person does it, and how an engineer does it, and how a creative artist design person does it. And so when we do the Strengths Finder report, and you just gain just a crazy amount of self-awareness about what you do well and the value you bring to your work and what your blind spots might be. When we start stacking the other skills on top of that, it really positions everyone to be able to customize the skills to themselves so that they don't feel intimidated to be like, oh, that's the way Nancy would do it, but that's not my style. And then I'm intimidated and I won't do it. Instead, I'm like, but wait, let me think about how I can do it with using my strengths. And so our goal is that every single person that comes through our Activate program feels moved to action in a way that is individualized to them, right? So we give them a framework, but you decide how you're going to do it so it feels authentic to you. And you can really show up with your team in that way.
Ooh, I love that. So there's a framework, but it's customized, right? Like, so, and I love the authenticity part as opposed to, oh, I have to go to some training program to learn about management and be told 1, 2, 3, 4, this is what you have to do.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay. Really, really quick side note. Do you mind if I ask you what your top 5 are?
Yeah, no, let's do it. So
Yeah.
wait, okay, yeah. So you've done it though too, right?
I have.
Okay, yes, because we were recently on that program together. So my top are individualization, relator, activator, futuristic, and empathy. So I lead with very strong relationship and influencing themes. I am not much of a strategic thinker or really low on execution. So that's why I need a team around me.
Okay. Enlightening. So I am woo. For those of you who don't know, that is winning others over.
Correct.
Communications or communicator, right? I forget which one it is.
Communication.
Okay, communications. Activator, we have that in common.
Great.
And then positivity and harmony.
I love that.
So difficult conversations for me, not my favorite thing. You can tell because of the positivity and harmony that I like. Winning others over, maybe. We'll see.
Oh my God, Nancy, I just feel like I learned so much about you. I don't know why we didn't dig into this sooner, but this makes perfect sense for what you're doing right this second on this podcast. Makes perfect sense. And like, no wonder why, like, you definitely influence people into action, like just organizing and arranging and being super flexible. Like, I think I'm absolutely experiencing that with you.
Oh, I love
And using your positivity and harmony actually makes you well equipped to lean into a productive, so-called difficult conversation. And we could talk more about that too.
I sense another podcast coming on.
Yeah.
Tune in for Nancy and Carrie
Oh my God,
diving in.
we should do like a live coaching or something.
Oh, I'd love that. A hot seat. So, Carrie, thank you. Thanks for indulging me in that aside. But I think it's helpful also to sort of see, like, for people who haven't taken the Strengths Finder, it really is powerful. And now I think I've learned from you, not only does it tell you your top 5, but it also highlights your sort of bottom 5, right? Like,
Yeah.
being very clear of like, the reason this is hard for you is because this is hard for you. But, let's focus on the strengths and be aware of how to deal with those challenges.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of your certifications and working with people, we've been in COVID, so it sounds like you can do this from anywhere.
Yeah.
Any place, individuals can hire you or HR teams hire you. What is that? How does that work?
So I don't do as much with individuals. However, so I am mostly working with decision makers. I'll just generally call them, right? It could be the leader of the business. It could be a small business owner. It can be the head of an HR function or the head of a business function. So the decision makers and budget holders really are the ones who are hiring me. But over, COVID, I think thrust every single one of us into a place of change and innovation, if I can lovingly call it that at this point.
Discovery.
Discovery, yes. And I was not very loving about it in the beginning. It was very, very hard. But I have finally gotten to a place of acceptance with the whole thing. Because I have a great network around me, I was able to take my content and not just shift it onto like, let's make it a live Zoom. I'll just share my screen and the same slides I would have projected in person, I'm going to put on Zoom. We've actually turned it into a self-paced course. So Activate is, yes, it can be taught live. Yes, it can be taught on Zoom or in person. But more importantly, it is loaded into a member site. And when we are working with people who are working across geographies, different shifts, oftentimes it's such a burden to kind of coordinate people across different teams because they have different, like, what would I say, like peak times of like
schedules.
Workloads. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Like one team might be launching something really big while another team has some downtime and vice versa. It's always such a burden to make the time work for everyone. This member site allows people to view and study and watch the lessons of my recordings live in the member site. There's quizzes, they can download the worksheets, and then they come to a shorter Zoom session. So instead of being on Zoom for 3 hours to learn how to give feedback, we're doing that in an hour, 90 minutes, so that after you've watched the lesson in the member site, we're jumping straight into the skills practices and the activities and the real plays and the coaching people through their challenges. And so it's been a much more efficient way to get these lessons out there, and people love it. Like, parents had a really tough time during COVID, and just adding something like this on just felt like impossible. It just felt like a pile on. But some of them, I had so many new moms go through this program, and they were like, they would send me selfies of themselves watching me, like watching my lesson with like a beer on a Friday afternoon while the toddler's napping, because that was their time to truly invest in themselves and continue to invest in their career and not have to have any gaps there while they were adjusting to being a new mom. So the self-paced lessons, I think, is what has really elevated us and what we're doing. And it's giving us far more reach and far more scale to be able to reach more people.
Fantastic. What a smart move. And it sounds like you're actually, again, getting to the people who want to be gotten to, so to speak, as opposed to some mandated top-down approach that HR is saying we have to do this, right? And or if you don't have an HR, but you want to learn these skills or learn more and move in that direction, you've made it possible.
Yeah. Well, you did mention too about like working with individuals. And so we did launch this to individuals first, actually. I just put it out to my community to say, like, who wants this? And I was so pleasantly surprised to meet so many people who were willing to invest in themselves. So whether they were able to influence their company to pay for it or they paid for it out of their own pocket, people were really hungry for the support. And not only did they learn from me, they learned from each other. Like the amount of social learning and connection that happened in these different cohorts in my private membership, they were really powerful.
I love that. And that's a perfect segue. The topic of community, right? We're here because of HAYVN. I met you. You're sitting at your HAYVN office, and I met you because of HAYVN. So if you can, Carrie, speak a little bit to what the HAYVN community has meant to you or your business, or how you even, came to find it. So, that would be really helpful.
Oh boy. So HAYVN was like probably one of the biggest blessings during the very beginning of COVID. I found HAYVN during, it was probably June 2020, because I think that's when Connecticut started to open back up again once the shell shock of the pandemic had kind of worn off a bit. And so, cold turkey, I moved out of Brooklyn into my boyfriend's apartment in Connecticut, which yay, but also scary. It was a little bit of a identity crisis. I never pictured myself leaving New York City after 20 plus years, but it kept us
You
safe.
did it.
Yes, I did it. And we were safe and healthy the entire time. And so, however, I always tell people it felt like I moved into Joey and Chandler's apartment, if you know what I mean. So I was like, there's a lot of work I need to do, and I just need a proper workspace. And so I just went into my computer and I typed co-working space connect near me. I think HAYVN was the first thing that came up. I went on the website. I loved the look. I loved the vibe. And I literally just got in the car and drove over here to see if I could check it out. And Felicia and Sam were the only ones here. They welcomed me with open arms. And this has been such a saving grace for me ever since. I've met some amazing, it's very female friendly. I've been in WeWorks before, and there's not as much of that. And this to me is just like, there's so many amazing, smart, powerful female entrepreneurs, or even just, other women who are, career focused. It's been, I don't know, it's been great. Felicia and the team here are amazing. I think the hoops that they jumped through to make sure that everyone working here felt safe during COVID was just amazing to me. So anyway, being new to Connecticut, knowing no one else but John, this has been such a really, it's been like a tender little,
your special space.
Yeah.
Well, aside from finding you at your HAYVN office, where else, Carrie, can people find you, reach out to you, connect with you if they want to learn more, or just sort of follow along the Leadology
Yeah.
journey?
So get Leadology. So you can either do getleadology.com and sign up for my newsletter. You'll get free tips delivered direct to your inbox every single week. Our newsletters is where we add the most value. They're really good. I work with a girl named Dylan who is like one of the most amazing copywriters ever, because I will like blab like I'm blabbing now, and she'll somehow turn it into something really beautiful that people want to read and learn from. So getleadology.com is where you'd find that. And then, of course, we have a little more fun at Get Leadology on Instagram. So you'll see us in stories and reels and on the feed. And we do offer a lot of tips there too. And feel free to DM me. If you found me through this podcast, send me a message. And I am famous for like voice messaging people back. They're usually shocked. Like they'll be like, how do I ask for more money at work? And all of a sudden I'm in my phone, like telling them exactly what to do. And they're like, oh my God, I can't believe you answered. I'm like, oh yeah, I answered. Go get your money. Go. And so we've had some success stories. So at Get Leadology on Instagram and getleadology.com.
Fantastic. Well, Carrie, thank you so much for your time. You know I love speaking with you. We may have to do this again.
We're definitely doing this again.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you for listening to another episode of our HAYVN Hubcast.
Thanks for listening to the HAYVN Hubcast, a place to learn what business leaders and owners are doing to navigate and grow in today's market. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. HAYVN is a co-working space and virtual community located in the heart of Fairfield County, Connecticut. HAYVN is a hub for business owners and professionals to connect, create, and get stuff done. Find out more about the HAYVN community online at hayvn.com. That's HAYVN.com. HAYVN Hubcast is produced by Sound Advice Strategies.